scary than pricing green technology.
Okay.
So when they hear clean tech, they switch off. But we've had traction. I mean, usually we get about 35 applications from Cyprus, about the same from Greece, and we run 2 programs in Cyprus and in Greece.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we're going to make it on.
Should I put this on? Do I need to put this?
The second movement of the Grieg Piano Concerto in A minor, Opus 16. It's 20-1, and I'm very happy to welcome to the studio here Dr. Stelios Yiatros, who is the Assistant Professor in Structural Engineering at the Department of Civil Engineering and Geomatics at the Cyprus University of Technology, and who is also co-organizer and, shall I say, brainchild behind Chrysalis Leap and Climate Launchpad. Thank you so much for being here in the studio with me. Pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Saskia. It's a pleasure to be here today.
And probably I'd like to begin by asking you, what is Climate Launchpad and what were the origins?
Well, Climate Launchpad, as you said, it's one of the key initiatives that Chrysalis Leap is doing in Cyprus, which it's the first green business idea accelerator in Cyprus. And what we're aiming to do with our partners in Climate Kick, which is a European effort, and it stands for Knowledge Innovation Community for Climate Change, is to get those green products or green discoveries done in Cypriot labs on the university that we have here, or even other research that has been done with Cypriot companies here, to get it out to the market. Help people create their companies, market their products, and if possible, take over the world.
As I understand it, this is done in the form of a competition.
Yes, indeed. Actually, Climate Launchpad is probably the largest global competition. Or I prefer the word program instead of competition. There is a competitive element because effectively the program is for free. So there's a selection process for people to attend the training program in Cyprus that we're running, and then the top 3 of them would go to the global grand final, where if they are successful, they have the opportunity to continue their acceleration, and that would also include further training, research grants, and networking with the Climate Key community.
How do you actually select the Cyprus participants? What is the process?
There is an online application. This can be found either at the Chrysalis Leap website or the climatelaunchpad.org website. Climate Launchpad, I suppose it's very difficult to spell out on radio, but effectively it's Climate Launch and Pad, as the rocket launch pad in space. What it's trying to do is to launch as many clean tech and sustainable development startups that we can possibly do. So this is a global movement. It started, Cyprus was one of the founding members. We started in 1990.
That's very exciting to hear.
Yeah, 2014, not 1994.
Yes.
That's 2014. And it was just 6 countries plus Cyprus and Greece, which was a joint event organized by Chrysalis Leap. And now there are more than 35 countries. Last year we had organized the Grand Global Final in Limassol, and we had over 100 startups, 600 delegates from across the world coming and presenting and gaining, useful insight into their idea and how it can become a company.
Do you have any specific criterion?
Oh yes, that's what you asked me. I diverted. So the criteria is that it needs to be a green idea that helps the environment or fights or mitigates or adapts some of the effects of climate change. This could be anything from renewable energy sources. It could be about minimizing or optimizing the energy usage. It could be about green mobility. It could be about depolluting the air, the water, or even concepts around circular economy, whether that's food, that's raw materials, clothing, anything. As long as there is an angle towards climate change. It has to be, as I said, the idea, it has to be at least two people participating, so you cannot be a single person participating, even if you own 100% of the idea and the IP.
Yes.
We'd like you to find one more person, hopefully with complementary skills, who will go through this journey together with you. And the form, the application form has just 3 or 4 very simple questions. Why do you think this product is of value? What's the value proposition? For who do you think it is for? If there is any IP behind it, and if there's a prototype. The prototype is not a prerequisite, but it always helps if there's a proof of concept somewhere.
What happens at the 2-day boot camp?
So at the 2-day boot camp, I will not reveal all our secrets, but effectively, we're bringing everybody on the same line, and a lot of the times people have a technology, they think they know what it is for and for whom it is for. After all, they build it, so they're in love with it. And what usually happens, we break them down and rebuild them again. And we give them the first tools they will use in order to form their first pitch slide deck. And effectively that slide deck, other than the presentation element of it, it's effectively the 8 main elements they need to look as a bootstrapped startup with very limited resources. What can you show off the product or the service you want to build and sell?
It's not an easy process, is it? One would think, oh, well, of course I can talk about my product, but it's not only that, it's a matter of getting somebody else to understand exactly what your product does. You kindly sent me some video material, and I saw that it wasn't so easy for them because it's all in their head. They're all scientists, they're innovators, and it's not so easy to impart what you're trying to do.
Exactly. It's I would not say it's easy by no chance, and especially when talking to scientists or engineers who have spent a lot of time in universities. A lot of the people, like myself sometimes, even though my family would not vouch for it, are introverts, and they can understand what their technology does, but very, very rarely can match that to market demand. It's the ethos during the boot camps as well as the coaching sessions that we have later on. It's work hard, play hard, and we mix some fun elements with it, and we put a lot of passion. The whole of Chrysalis Leap team, as well as our sponsors, who also come at the boot camp and give a lot, because as I said, for the participants it's a free process and no IP is taken, which means they own 100% of their idea through this journey. So it's not easy, but I think we have mastered a method through this madness to help these people do it. And they have trusted that over the past 4 years we have had more than 100 business ideas. Some of them turned into startups, some of them turned into companies, and they have been through our programs. And as you probably saw in the videos, in the testimonials, some of them even have a good word to say about it. So,
well, who are the judges who oversee the global grand final in Scotland in November?
The judges, obviously there's no final list by now, it's going to be in November, but if I can judge from the previous years and even last year, which happened in Cyprus, in Limassol in last October, we had people from corporate venture capital. So these are the people who fund and take into the big corporations technological startups. There are people who have been coaching clean startups for a number of years, as well as different industry specialists.
How has Cyprus fared over the last 4 years?
I think Cyprus, it's pulling its weight, it's pulling larger weight than it actually has. As Crystal is live, and I think probably it's coming from a small nation, we're really passionate in going out and making ourselves heard. We've won the let's say the partner award for 2 consecutive years on marketing the competition and getting the vibe out. 2 of our members, the core Chrysalis members, well, one of our members, another Cypriot associate of us, are trainers of the program. There are 2 of the 8 trainers of the program, so they provide training in other of the 35 countries across the world. And all of us, the other 5 of us, are coaches in the program. Also, at least 5 of our startups have gone through Climate Launchpad to the further acceleration stages, which means they had access to, again, equity-free funding, so grants for them to build their companies and start looking for their markets. And now we're in a position that a small number of them, and sometimes they say you have to see 1,000 applications to select 100 startups to find those 10 that are going to make it, and that one who's going to be a really, really good one. I think we've reached a stage where now we have, after 4 years, 2 or 3 that could break into the world scene. And they are established companies, they have employees, they have products, and they're looking at either investors or clients, and they've been doing trade fairs. And it's been an exciting journey, even for us, but I think for them as well.
Investors are key. How difficult is it for them to find funding? Because it's the bane of so many startups. You have the idea in your head, but then you need to make it into a prototype, or you need funding, basically, whatever happens, in order to get to that next step.
It's actually the most challenging, I would say. I wouldn't say difficult thing is understanding what sort of investor you need, and when do you need it, and at which stage in your startup you need it.
What sort of investors? Interesting.
For clean tech startups, usually it's these corporate venture capital funds, or specialized funds like the Breakthrough Energy venture. Actually, one of it's the fund created by Bill Gates et al. For promoting clean and renewable energy and technologies. And actually, one of the directors of investment is a secret lady called Christina Garabatagi, and she has been one of our guests at the Climate Launchpad Grand Final. And what these people are looking for is not just the people with a great idea, the groundbreaking technology, but they should be able to see the value proposition of that technology,
yes,
and a good team behind it who complement each other and they can pull it through, or at least they know with whom they should partner to actually pull it through. A lot of the times at Crystal Sleep, we get a lot of people in their applications saying, oh, I need 1 million euros now to do it. And a lot of people think, if I had the money, I would have done it. And the answer most of the times is, go to a bank, get a loan. I mean, if it's so clear,
yes,
a banker should be able to understand it. Usually these clean tech ideas are a bit more difficult, and that's why through Climate Kick, and this is the reason we have this strategic partnership with them, as well as some other local firms in Cyprus like PwC and the BSM and GZG law firm, we try to bring these elements together to help these startups to be able to seek investment, to do the big leap. Otherwise, it can be very, very difficult for them.
Is there enough awareness in Cyprus about climate change, or is it just a phrase that we sort of bandy about and don't really take seriously?
Short answer is no. I think it's very difficult for people to comprehend. I think they hear about climate change, and usually it's like 2 minutes at the news after all the politicians have spoken about something else, so people don't really understand it. And some of them, even worse, they confuse it with weather. So if one day was bad, like when we had the dust, oh, that's really bad, but the next day it's okay, so there's no problem with climate. I think people paying closer and closer attention, and that's what we're trying to do. Even as with my other hat as a CUT assistant professor, we also run climate kick educational activities.
Yes.
We are trying to promote that these problems we're facing now, the water shortage because of reduced rainfall, the increasing dust, which is actually related to the reduced rainfall. They are here to stay, and they will probably get worse. And we should be doing something about it. Even if we're Cyprus, we're a small nation, we should be doing. Maybe we could start with the plastic straws and removing them, as the UK is trying to do, or the plastic bags at supermarkets.
I mean, I think legally we were actually told that we're not to be using plastic bags. They're not supposed to be given, they're supposed to be sold, and yet once again we come to the same story that I hear over and over from many different sectors, is that the laws are not implemented.
Yeah, I think that about the plastic bags, there has been a push for an extension of when the validity of the law would start. I think it's going to start in June.
Yes, right.
Unfortunately, a lot of the times you hear about these sort of regulations as being something really bad and will hit the low-income members of society more by, let's say, adding a cost onto these bags. Unfortunately, and that has been seen globally, lower-income families get to suffer the consequences of climate change a lot more than others. So I think having a wider look at the problem, as Chrysalis Libguard and CUT and the Cyprus Energy Agency, who are the 3 climate kick partners in Cyprus, we are doing a number of events to communicate and also engage with as many people as possible. As I was telling you before we started the show, a lot of people hear clean tech and they think that it's not something related to them or to their invention. A lot of the things that solve societal problems, if you have a startup and you think, oh, it's an IT startup and I can solve this societal problem, a lot of the times it has an impact on climate change, and maybe we could help you with it. Maybe we could give you even some of the tools to make that further step. So don't be shy. If people think they have something but it's not climate change related, they can talk to us and we might find a common ground and the proper value proposition for them to for us to help them.
How much damage did Donald Trump do by denying climate change even exists? Or do you think people generally don't take too much notice because there's so much science behind it?
Actually, that's it's a bigger problem, and I think social media have done a great thing in connecting people around the world. I've studied in the UK, and I was still studying at the time of when Facebook was launched, and in an Imperial, I think we were one of the first universities in the UK that had access to it. It was great because we could connect with our friends and colleagues from around the world that had left and gone to China and Australia and the States. And then you see this became like an echo chamber or cafenes, the Greek coffee shop, where someone would say something that was preposterous. People would laugh and then they would just leave it away. Now this thing stays there and becomes bigger and bigger. Now, I mean, the President of the United States is one thing. There are so many people offering, even myself sometimes, I might say something that is just my opinion based on no scientific facts, and people will take it for granted. So I'm trying to understand how we can best communicate, and we're trying different channels of communication with different people. Try to tell them that this is happening. I mean, in Cyprus, we should be thinking more and more about it. The dust, I remember a few years ago, it was once every couple of years. Then became once a year. Yes. Now April was mostly dusty. It exists.
The water is another issue, and something that's I'm personally very I don't know how to describe it. Just the lack of awareness and the selfishness generally of people to waste a precious commodity that actually belongs to everybody. Watering the pavement is my pet peeve.
Yeah, it's well, again, it's by not having the real cost of water, you're making the mistake that this thing is gonna be around forever, or as we usually do here, we would say God will provide. If He doesn't provide, it means that we've done something really, really wrong. And I'm not, and I cannot claim that it's true or not. Well, myself, I do not have that much evidence. But what I could say is that we are building this culture slowly. I think Cyprus had it before. They've had water shortages before, and slowly we should be giving again that element, and also help people try to claim as much water as they could, as they can from nature, from natural resources. Actually, we are hosting in Cyprus. We're not just creating startups from Cypriots, but we also host foreign startups that come to Cyprus because they see the isolation of our grid, both the water grid as well as the electricity grid, as a good test case to demonstrate prototypes and see whether this can work in a bigger market. We had a climate kick startup from the Netherlands that they had built a demonstration of a small-scale desalination plant that you could take with you that could clean water and make it potable. And actually now I'm also hosting, at a personal level, another Italian friend who has this biomimetic, nature-inspired small-scale desalination plants that mimics natural processes to clean salty water into distilled water.
Are all of these very exciting ventures heard by the government with a possible implementation?
The ideas, yes, and we've been very strategic as climate kick partners in Cyprus, and I'm talking on behalf of everyone, all the partners involved in Cyprus, that we identify key stakeholders within Cyprus. Either it could be at local authority level or central government level, to promote some of the ideas. We are pushing. We've created a white paper on green mobility of a United Nicosia a couple of years ago. Last October, we had an event at the Presidential Palace under the auspices of the current Minister of Internal Affairs, Mr. Petridis, where we presented the case of Cyprus becoming a clean tech hub, actually creating the startups, financing the startups, but also bringing startups and talent from abroad. And we've also been working with the Cyprus Investment Promotion Agency with that. Obviously, this creation of startups is one, and we talk with the big stakeholders, both from the industry, the private sector, and the government. And finally, one of our newest projects, as CUT and the Cyprus Energy Agency, we will be doing a common project with Malta on the circular economy for demolition waste. Because as island nations, we have a problem where we would put our waste, especially from the construction sector that is booming, and would like to explore what opportunities and talking to the relevant industry and policy-making stakeholders to implement this. So we are being heard. We're making small steps, but we prefer that instead of the big shows, the big events, and then nothing happening.
Very impressive. I'm very grateful and glad that you came into the studio to tell us more about it. Everybody who has something to offer should go to climatelaunchpad.org.
And they can even check our website on Facebook or on Twitter, Crystal is Leap, and they can find all the information they want. Thank you so much for inviting me over, and I would like to have you over at our the national final, which is going to take place in July. I'll send you an invite.
I'll be very honored. Thank you.
And see those startups.
Thank you so much. Dr. Stelios Yiatros, my special guest here on RIC Classic. 3 minutes past 1, and we're going to continue our program now with Richard Strauss, and this is Gundula Janowitz and the Berlin Philharmonic under Herbert von Karajan with In Abendrot.